I'm Matthew Palmer, and my new book, The Watercolour Companion, is a hardback reference guide that you keep by your side at all time. The perfect size to fit in your watercolour kit. It's got pages of colour mixes, it's got reference images to work from, it's got what materials you need, how to paint finished pictures. This indispensable guide is designed to be by your side at all times on your watercolour journey. The book is available now. Well, hello there and welcome to my studio. My name is Matthew Palmer and we are here live as of the 6th of September 2022. The future is right here. Welcome to the studio, folks, in beautiful Derbyshire, or should I say rainy Derbyshire. We're here with Search Press today to talk about a new book that I've been working with the guys at Search Press for the past couple of years. It's now available to buy. It's called The Watercolour Companion. I'm sure a lot of you have seen the book. But we're also going to be doing a bit of a watercolour demonstration. Excuse me, a little bit rusty on the old chest today. So we're going to do some painting. We're going to do some painting from the book, which is going to be really cool. But before we do that, let's take a look at the book in question. Here it is. It is The Watercolour Companion, Tips, Techniques to Improve Your Watercolour Painting by Matthew Palmer. This is my first hardback book, so I'm really proud of this one, and I want to say a big shout out to everybody at Search Press for working hard in putting this new book concept together. What's different about it is it's a small size book. That's the first thing. It's hardback, which makes it very robust. Why is it called The Watercolour Companion? Well, it's designed to be by your side through your watercolour adventures. So you keep it with your watercolour stash, you know, you keep it over here, you keep it in your watercolour box, whatever, and you sort of fetch it out as and when you need it, basically. So you're doing a painting and you think to yourself, how would Matthew do a picture of a seascape? What colours would he use for a seascape? How would he mix the perfect greens? That kind of thing. Well, the book is all about that. It's all about having something by your side as a very visual reference guide, and that's what makes this thing quite special. So let's take a look at the book just to see what it is actually all about. So first of all, and I should mention, we've still got some of the first editions left, so if you fancy getting hold of a first edition of this book, we've got some available still. These are a very limited number, limited to 500 copies here, so do make sure you get hold of one of these if you've not had a chance to. This one's number 317. It also comes with a bit of a certificate of authenticity, but if we flick through the book, we can see it's very much a visual guide. And look at the dedication. The book is dedicated to all you artists out there. This book is dedicated to all the artists I've taught over the years and for all those still to come. So that was nice. That was a good one. Hopefully that's getting you goosebumps. It's going to make you goosebumps. I'll get cold in here. It's very much a visual guide, and you can see here it just tells you that the book is meant to be with you at all times. So really effective for that. It's a lay flat bind as well, so it stays nice and flat on your desk. It's got lots of useful techniques. Each page is a single technique in watercolors, basically. So what you've got here is you've got, you know, how to choose the right scene to paint, that kind of thing. But very quickly it goes into those essential techniques, and you can see if we get close in here that the book is very much about, it's a visual guide with very little in the way of text. It's visual, and it's got these interesting little symbols which we'll talk a little bit about later. So you've got skies, I mean, it's perfect for sunsets. You've got stormy skies here, flowers, how to choose the right scene, how to paint trees, and look at this. Key mixes for your spring foliage. Now this is a great time to talk about this here, because what you've got here is you've got this colour selector. We're going to call it a colour selector. So really simple logic, and for me this was the catalyst of the book. Let's say that you want to mix some colours for a springtime watercolour, but how do you know how to mix the perfect greens? Well, here you've got you've got 4 different ways of showing you how to mix colour. First of all, you've got the colour once it's on your paper and once it's dry. So you've got your light green, your mid green, your dark green. But here in the centre of the circle is the colour, how it appears in your palette, because it's very different. You can see there's a big difference between this and this. It's almost twice the strength when it's in your palette wet. So this is showing you wet paint from your palette, dry paint on your paper. This wheel here, the circle, shows you how much blue versus how much yellow. So it's very much a visual guide, as mentioned. It's also very useful as well, because if you've got your own photographs and you want to know how to mix the perfect colour, the book is rammed. Look at this, key mixes for summer foliage. So here you've got the perfect page for getting these tones of green. Look at that, it's the perfect colour for this. So that's what the book is all about. It's a great way, I mean, look at that, that's the perfect colour for this one. So it's a great way to show you how to match those colours. It gives it in very simple, straightforward English, which is really nice. Lots of techniques, from buildings to doorways to architectural to cliffs and rocks, mountains, snow-capped peaks, waves, seascapes, reflections, how to paint, how to draw, how to do skin tones. Very much a visual guide. And right at the back of the book is a secret compartment. Yes, we've put that in there. And if we sneak this open, in here is a picture finder. Now the picture finder comes free with the book. And what the picture finder actually is, it's a ruler across the top, centimetres, inches. It's a tonal range finder. And here is your picture finder for getting that perfect thirds composition. So if you close one eye and hold that up, it basically, look at that, it basically allows you to choose the perfect scene. If you close one eye, you can focus on everything from here to eternity, or should I say infinity, but I like eternity better. We can do that, and basically it's a way of choosing the right composition. And I've spent a working lifetime being on location on painting holidays and trying to teach groups how to take this big vista that you see in front of you and squash it onto your paper. That's what this is. That's what the picture finder is, and that comes with the book for a tenner. So that's all included as well. And the book is less than £10, so do check it out. And again, if you'd like to get hold of one of these first edition copies, which has got a little bit of it's a signed and numbered edition with a certificate of authenticity, there's a link in the description below. We've got a few of those left, so do check that out. Now let's come back here. Here's a sheet of watercolour paper stuck to a board. This particular sheet of watercolour paper is a 1/4 imperial in size. And what I want to do for you today is take some of the techniques from the book, and I'm going to paint a quick and simple watercolour landscape with you. So do sit back, grab a coffee, enjoy this demo, and we'll talk more about the book. But while I'm prepping a few materials, because I need a few more bits here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little video, a little advert that just talks about the brand new book and the accompanying DVD. Check this out. It's only about 30 seconds. Hello there, my name is Matthew Palmer, and welcome to this film, which is designed to accompany my book, The Watercolour Companion, your essential guide to watercolour tips, tricks and techniques. The film will go through how to paint beautiful skies, wonderful trees of all seasons, colour mixing, perspective and a beautiful landscape scene. The book and DVD are available now from the SAA website. So you can pick a copy of the book and the brand new DVD from the SAA. If you just want to get hold of a book, the new book, a signed copy, you can get from Watercolour TV. If you want to get hold of just a copy of the book on its own without a signature, you can get it from Search Press. If you have bought a copy of the book, please leave us a review on Amazon. That goes a long way to making the book successful. But thank you to all those people that picked up a first edition. There's still some left of those, so do check it out. So let's get some painting done then. And I should mention that all the materials we're working with today are all available from Watercolour TV. If you go on the art shop, you can get hold of everything that we're using. This picture could be done with basic brushes and primary colours. The book will talk you through colours, it'll talk you through brushes. Very, very nice, detailed book. But what we are going to be doing here is painting a bit of a mountainous landscape. I do like a bit of a mountain scene. So that's what I'm going to do. So quickly going to come back to the picture here. And I'm actually just going to take a little bit of masking tape. Now this is just a nice quality tape. There's nothing too adventurous about it. And I want to stick this tape about here. I'm going to wobble it a little bit, just crease it over the top here. Get your fingernails into that tape so you've got a nice bit of a crease. Now it's quite hard to see with it being white on white. But I'm just going to basically, this is going to give us a snow-capped mountain, basically. That's the idea. That's going to go in right there. Get the fingers into it. Perfect. So that is just a V shape, basically. You can see it. If I do that, you can see it quite clearly there. A little V shape is all we've got. The rest of the scene we're going to paint as we progress. Another bit of masking tape is going to come in here, remove the stickiness, and that's going to go across probably about a quarter of the way up the picture. It's quite important to remove the stickiness from your masking tape when you do something like this, but that's going to go probably about there. That's going to go across. So that's horizontal, and that's ready to start this watercolour journey. So do stick with me for the next sort of 30 minutes or so while this painting takes a bit of shape. The paper is Quarter Imperial, it's not surface, it's Matthew Palmer's own brand of watercolour paper. First job is to use quite a big brush. Now it's worth me saying at this point that this is a demo, it's a watercolour demonstration, so it's not a workshop, it's a demo, so I'm working pretty quickly. So if you think I'm working a bit quick, it's because it is a demonstration, so just think about that as well, okay? Okay. So we have plenty of water going on. It's important to get the water down to this tape. So there's a big section on skies. Each page of the book is a single technique, so there's no duplication anywhere in the book, and there's no techniques that run over more than one page. So it's really worth saying that it's very much a visual guide. And here we're going to paint a sky. Not quite sure what kind of sky until I do it, to be fair. I think something a bit sunsetty would be quite nice here. So I've put 3 good coats of water on there. Over to the palette there then, folks. We're going to grab some colours. Now I'm going to use my own brand of colours. You can see these are Matthew Palmer colours. You can just use primary colours, but I'm going to go straight in with some natural orange. Now you can mix an orange from a red and a yellow, of course. The book goes through all colour mixing, so you don't need fancy colours to use and enjoy the book. It's basically just about you enjoying the scene. So let's do a bit of a vignette. So I'm not going to fill the page here. We're going to keep this quite sort of low. We'll have a nice border around this. I like that kind of scene. Back to the palette again. The brush, by the way, is a size 20 brush. It's one of my own brushes. It's called a Super Point. It's a lovely tool. This one's a size 21. The next colour is going to be violet. This particular violet is called Natural Violet. Now, if you've not got this, you could mix blue with a touch of red. Wouldn't quite be the same, but it'd be close. You can see it's a nice kind of sort of purpley sort of violet colour. That's going to go in beautiful across the top. Little diagonal streaks, you can see that quite clearly. Bring it into the orange, you get a lovely grey that way. And that's why, if I'd used blue, I'd get green, but because I'm using this colour, it's quite nice, because what it does, it actually goes more of a grey and less of a green. I'm going to pop a little bit of that just coming up from the back of the mountain peak. I'm very much painting this thing spontaneous, by the way. So I had no kind of plan of action. All I knew is it was going to be some kind of mountainous scene. So very much working from the head. There's a chapter in the book about working from imagination. One of my favourite things to do. If I take a smaller brush, and in this particular case it's going to be a size 10 brush. Again, all the materials I'm using, have a look on the website watercolour.tv. You can see them all on there. Natural grey is the colour I've got next. Beautiful for shadows. Back to the picture here. We're going to pop some clouds in this thing. Coming up from the back of the mountain here. A little bit of a twist to the brush. Roll the brush across the sky here. So this is natural grey. And really, this is going to give me a nice bit of atmosphere. So I'm just rotating a grey. You can mix this grey from primary colours if you want to. It's always better, in my opinion, to use a ready-made natural grey if you can get hold of this one. This is available online, of course. So notice the paint spreading, so it creates that lovely sort of sky effect. Very dramatic is what I'm interested in. And then just down here with the same grey, I'm going to paint in a distant misty mountain with exactly the same colour. I want to put a bit of character into this thing, even a few little sort of misty trees over this side. So a little sort of I love the light here, by the way. Little sort of diagonal line, so the paper's still damp at this point, which is great. Bring that down. And then we'll come down a bit further. Nice and clean brush. I'm going to dab off the excess water on kitchen paper. Again, if you've just joined us, welcome, but remember this is a demo. So working at a pretty speedy pace here today. Let's get that all nice and misty, and so it's like it's fading into the mist. So I'm just keep cleaning my brush basically. I want to go a little bit stronger with the paint at this point, so a very thick grey. You can see the strength of grey there. It's quite dry. I put no water in that palette, so that's just the water that's in the brush. Just a bit of dampness. Is it me or is it moist? Let's bring a little bit of shadow in and just get a little bit of depth to this side of these hills, mountains, whatever we decide. But I'm loving the atmosphere, the mist. Let's get a bit closer in for you because we can do that. Beautiful. In fact, we can do a little bit more darkness in the clouds as well now, actually. So I'm really going for atmospherics today. And if you saw the Facebook demo I did yesterday, which was in association with the SAA, do check that out as well. It's over on the Facebook page, Matthew Palmer Artist. So there was in fact, it's on the back of this board. Got excited then. If you look here, that was the demo from yesterday. So if you've not had a chance to watch that, there's a very atmospheric seascape. That's on the Facebook page, so do have a look at that as well. If you've not had a chance to check it out, you can have a little goosey gander. Clean brush at this point, through the fingers, and I'm just going to basically blend all this in, make it look as though it's got a bit of character. Soften the paint, blend the paint, that kind of thing. Also, we can drag out some light in these little these clouds, not mountains. I'm just basically using the side of this super point brush. You can see that sort of underlit effect it's creating. Beautiful way of working. Clean it, squeeze it, and wipe it. That brings back memories. There you go. Just basically filth. Just basically put some light in it. It almost gives like an underlit feel, don't it? I quite like to see that in the pictures. I think it really adds a bit of mood, and we like a bit of mood in these pictures, don't we? Beautiful, beautiful. Just give it a bit of a soften. I love how that's going to mist into the foreground. At this particular stage of the picture, what I want to do is remove the masking tape. Now, do expect little bits where the paint has crept through. That's where the skiers have been for a piece. We'll tap that off, but you'll not see that. Trust me, I'm an artist. And that needs to dry off for a split second. So while that's drying off, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to lean over here. So just talk amongst yourselves. There you go. You tell it's live. It's all scripted. Got a heat gun, hair dry. What happens when I put this on, the audio goes off. So rather than watching paint dry, I want to tell you a little bit about the book. Again, and I'll give this a quick blast with the dryer. I'm Matthew Palmer, and my new book, The Watercolour Companion, is a hardback reference guide that you keep by your side at all time. The perfect size to fit in your watercolour kit. It's got pages of colour mixers, it's got reference images to work from, it's got what materials you need, how to paint finished pictures. This indispensable guide is designed to be by your side at all times on your watercolour journey. The book is available now. That should do the job. Something else I want to mention to you folks while we're out there is if you want to have a go at watercolour painting with me, but actually working in real time and not at a speedy pace like this demonstration is today, then I do teach weekly live virtual watercolour workshops. These take place pretty much every Sunday. You can watch them live or at any time, so don't think you have to be there live. The one that's taking place this Sunday is actually a nice autumnal woodland scene, okay? That is happening this Sunday, the 11th of September. But there's pretty much one every single weekend. Here's a bit of inspirational images for that one. Paint a beautiful autumnal scene with woodland, distant village and golden leaves floating in the breeze. That's happening. It's a £10 workshop. You can take place from anywhere in the world. And as it clearly says, you can watch live or at any time after. This is how you book on to the workshop. What you do is you go to the website, allthews.watercolour.tv. Right at the top of the screen, you can see this book now button. That's the latest one that's happening. So whatever time you're watching this demo, in this particular case, the 11th of September, and there's all the information, it's £10. And what happens is you get sent a link and you can enjoy. So have a think about that. And all you need is 3 basic colours, basic primary colours, red, yellow, blue, and 3 brushes, large, medium, and small. That's it. Simple as that. Let's continue with this then. Let's get the grey in action. And so over to the palette, we're using the grey again here. And we're going to bring in some other colours and make this look like a nice snow-capped mountain. You need to stick with this picture. Anticipation's half the fun. So we're going to come down here and we're going to paint in this edge. Get this nice atmosphere. Now what I want to do here as I come down is put some shadows and various things. And I will bring some other colours into this, but at this particular stage, I'm just going to add some little... So I'm using this size 10 brush. Super point brush again. The book will show you how to do all different trees, mountain effects, blending colours, how to mix the right colours. It's not a book on how to paint pictures, it's a book on how to paint your pictures, if that makes sense. Because I think that most books I've wrote have always been very much, here's a picture, let's paint it, where this book is very much, how would Matthew do that kind of thing, and that's what the book is. So we're going for atmosphere here on this, we're bringing it down. Now I'm just going to sneak back over to the palette because I'm going to take some green paint, and the green paint is going to be natural green, which is a ready-made green. Here it is, that's designed to replicate nature. So natural green, all the colours are available to buy on Watercolour TV. So we'll get some green paint coming in here, and again little flicks of your brush. We're going for atmosphere here, folks. Moody, atmospherics is what I'm interested in. We'll bring that down. Clean brush, and then water. So I'm still maintaining this kind of misty feel. So I've just got water here on the brush and I'm blending all this in. We'll fade that off because it's a vignette. So I've started to use a bit of water here, so it's water tissue, and basically I'm fading this end away and then just bringing it over and scrub the paint. But keeping that lightness to get that snow-capped feel. Take that off the side. I actually wrote a book on mountains, and it's part of the Take 3 Colours range, so if you like painting mountainscapes, then it's a nice one to check out. And of course all the books are available to look at on Search Press's website. In fact, there's links in the description below to take you straight to Search Press, so have a look online. Of course, Search Press, the biggest and best book publisher of art and craft books out there. Just while we're talking about Search Press, a big shout out to Kate for organising this demo today. Thank you, Kate, for all the hard work you've put into setting this up. I hope you're enjoying it, folks, because it's going to be a nice one already. Look at the scene we created. We've created an atmospheric, misty day, mountain scene, Lake District, Scottish Highlands, whatever you want to call it. But that's looking lovely. I'm really pleased with that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that just a little bit, and we're going to have a look at a slightly different brush at this point. And the brush I'm going to be using is part of my tree and texture brush range. There's actually a selection of brushes called Matthew Palmer Tree and Texture brushes. There's 4 different sizes. The one I'm interested in is the large one, which is here. You can see it's a brush that's designed to look all nice and spiky, and it really makes painting trees nice and easy. So just going to take natural green paint here, which is the dark green, and use that first. I'm painting some trees. I will be playing around with the colours at this point. I will be bringing greys into play. Fairly strong for the paint here at this point. Back to the palette, back to the picture. So we've got the masking tape here. Let's do some trees down here. So I'm stippling in some trees. I'm literally, let's get a wee bit closer for you because I want you to see what's happening here. Loving the atmosphere, ain't that good? Beautiful. So basically the brush has got a slope on it. Again, the book talks about how you can get different brushes, but it shows you how to do this effect with normal brushes. You don't need tree brushes. The thing is about a tree and texture brush, it makes the job a little bit easier. That's all it is. So we'll bring it down. So if you were doing this painting yourself, you think, how would Matthew do a woodland, a foreground woodland? Oh, watercolour companion, just the job. So that's kind of what it is all about, really, you know, sort of giving you that little bit of inspiration with your painting. Let's just bring that over. Pop that on there. Now I'm going to go a bit darker here as well. I want to get some grey. So it's just the same grey that I've been using. Putting grey in the base of these trees will give shadow. You can just about make that shadow out there, can't you? And it's also going to give a little bit of depth. Now at this point, because we've gone for a misty scene, atmospheric, so I'm going to clean the brush extremely well, really well. Got some kitchen paper here. I'm going to squeeze that brush through the kitchen paper so it's just damp, and I'm going to revisit the trees and just ever so gently soften the tops of them just a little bit, just to make a little bit of a misty feel into them. So just a little bit of soften, not a great deal, but just a touch. A little bit of a soften coming in, sniffing, soften, just to help things along a little bit, and that just kind of diffuses them a little bit. So over the top of this, we're going to add some nice tall trees. Number 6 super point brush or a size 6 brush would be absolutely ideal for this. Nice and clean. Giving it a good old rinse because the brush has gone a bit stiff. I know. Oh, stop. Natural green with a bit of grey. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's put some trees in. Some nice tall trees here. Let's go for this. Bloody hell. Bring that in there. You've ruined it. Let's just paint in. I want to make this thing stand out, don't we? So a line down the middle and flicks either side. Gradually making it smaller and smaller and smaller. Turn it over. Atmospheric. Almost an alpine scene, I'm sort of saying here, aren't we, really? Moody evening sky. There's been quite a few of them recently with all the thunderstorms we've been experiencing. So it's been quite nice to witness it firsthand. So all this is going to create depth. It's going to push the trees back into the background. So I've been painting watercolours since the late 90s. Mid-90s actually. I've been teaching watercolours since about 1998, something like that, for quite a while. And I've been using watercolours as a medium quite as long as I can remember. So this companion book is very much my watercolour legacy. It's basically everything I know about painting thrown into 129 pages. So do have a look at it, folks. Enjoy it. Get yourself a copy. Hardback book. It's got this beautiful elastic binder as well, so it keeps together. And remember, you can get hold of a limited edition copy on Watercolour TV, or you can get hold of all my books via Search Press. And of course, have a look on the Search Press website. There's links in the description below or in the post. Now, if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, please make sure you hit the subscribe, because that does go a long way to keeping the paint flowing. Give us a like. If you're watching this on Facebook, then make sure you follow the Facebook, which is Matthew Palmer Artist, or there's a watercolour group out there, which is a great place to see all people's paintings and discuss anything arty, and that is simply Matthew Palmer's Watercolour Group. And of course there's also Search Press's Facebook page as well, to see what's happening in the world of art and craft publishing. There's currently an exhibition taking place at Patchin's Art Centre, which is over in Nottingham. It's near Nottingham City, and that is running until the end of September 2022. So there's a Search Press Authors exhibition. So if you are in the area, in the Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire area of the UK, head on over to Patchin's before the end of September 2022, and you can check out the exhibition that is currently on. I've got some paintings in there as well as lots of other artists too, so well worth a visit. The first exhibition since COVID really, so things are starting to flow again. A few more of these trees going in, beautiful. Now I want to start to go a little bit misty here as well, so once I've got in this kind of collection of tall pine trees, beautiful little picture, nice kind of simple moody scene here. What I'm going to do is just going to bring that in there, so a nice kind of dark moody thing happening here. Let's get a bit of shadow in these trees. And of course don't forget to check out the workshop that's happening this Sunday, the 11th September. Well, there's one pretty much every week really, and all the details are on my website about those. Beautiful. Let's go back to the palette just for a second or two, and what I plan to do there is get a slightly paler colour. So I'm diluting the grey down a bit here. So quite misty with the grey. So this is natural grey I'm using here. And we'll get a little bit closer into this picture now, because I want to create some mist, some sort of misty effect. So I want to paint in quite a lot of little pointy trees, just using this nice size 6 brush here. So it's almost adding another layer at the back. Just use a little bit of water, remove the excess on tissue to soften that down. So it's creating a misty area of trees, right, sneaking right at the back there. And just pick out the occasional tall tree. Slight rotation on the side, little flicks going outwards. It's all part of this early morning, early evening mist. Notice I do one side at a time with these trees. Add a bit of interest, maybe even over here as well. So using the right grey creates the right amount of depth. One side of the tree, other side of the tree. So this is a size 6 brush or a small super point brush. Look how nice that is. You've got that lovely bit of sort of recession kicking in. I feel like I want to pop another one just sneaking in down there as well. Quite addictive this, just keep adding more and more of them really. Turn it over. Stick some at the back there as well. It's got a bit of an Alaska vibe to this picture, that kind of feeling. So you've got more and more depth, more and more layers of colour. Perfect. Okay, I'm just going to use the green again just to sort of add a bit of an edge to this because I want to see the trees that are in front of it as well. So I'm just basically spotting the brush. In fact, I could actually come back to the tree and texture brush at this point. Green. Natural green. Stipple the colour, stipple the palette, just to say there's a bit of an edge. Lovely. So let's just come back a click with the camera here. What I want to do next is I want to remove that tape. But really that wants a little bit of time to dry. And again, if you're new, if you're just joining us, while that's drying off for 30 seconds, here is a little clip to show you what this new watercolour companion book is all about. I'm just going to give this a quick dry. Hi, I'm Matthew Palmer, and my new book, The Watercolour Companion, is a hardback reference guide that you keep by your side at all time. The perfect size to fit in your watercolour kit. It's got pages of colour mixes, it's got reference images to work from, it's got what materials you need, how to paint finished pictures. This indispensable guide is designed to be by your side at all times on your watercolour journey. The book is available now. There you go, I was watching that myself. Yeah, that's dry, so let's just take the tape off. That should leave a pretty clean edge. Nice quality masking tape there. Oh, look at that, isn't that good? I love the atmosphere. Just going to put a bit of landscape down there, really, because I feel it needs it. So if we was to have a look at the book close up and personal, we can see that it starts off, you know, how to get started, how to prep the paint, how to use the right colour mixes, how to use the colour mixing section as we mentioned. One thing I didn't mention about that colour mixing section, that's the picture finder that's included as well. So here you've got a colour mixer as for the shadows, as well as holding it next to a photograph for getting the perfect colour. Of course, you could also use it for closing one eye and holding up against the actual scene that you're painting. And of course, if you're working on a picture like this, you can say, well, that's the perfect grey for that, and so on. So that's what it is. So shadows, how to mix the perfect shadow colours, how to do silhouettes, moody skies, stormy skies, rainfall, flowers, beautiful section on flowers, bluebells, and just absolutely rammed with a visual reference guide. Even how to sketch animals, and for less than £10, it's a great little thing. I don't think you can get it with a DVD as well. So well worth having a look at that, folks. Loving the scene, loving the atmosphere we've created today. There's something nice about mountains and mist. For me, I think it just really looks beautiful. But what I want to do now is just paint a little bit of a landscape down here. So quickly over to the palette. For this, obviously, we've gone for green trees, so we want green land. We've got natural green there. We've got natural green light as well. Now, these greens are ready made to replicate nature. So these do make life a little bit easier for you. Not too strong with the paint now. Natural green, there it is. Let's get to the picture here. So just a little bit of a sort of foreground area. We'll start off with the light green, of course. We'll add some more colours, some shadows to this. Sweeping across here, right up to the edge where the tape was. Just be careful if you do use masking tape in your pictures, because it's so easy to rip the page and you don't want to have too much texture on your paper, do you? Let's go in for the darker green now, and we'll get the shadows in. Doesn't really matter where light is. Where's your light coming from? Doesn't really matter, to be honest, on this one, because it's all a bit dark anyway. So adding some dark green to this will give some natural shadows. Literally, I'm just using natural green, the dark one. Yes, I'm sure you know you can mix your own greens should you desire, but obviously here I'm using the ones that are ready made, which are my own colours. Why wouldn't I use them? Let's get a bit more darkness, a bit more green coming in. Sweeping down. Beautiful. Make sure you get right up to that edge. It's just a nice, yeah, that's good, isn't it? It just adds a lovely vista, and of course, as that paint dries, it will settle into the picture. Quite important as well that we have some shadows there. So the perfect shadow colour, you know what it is. We've been using it for quite some time on this painting. It's natural grey. Again, all the materials you can pick up online. Should you think, oh, that grey works, then you know how to get it. So I've got the grey, and we're going to go for the diagonal flicks of grey just to add some shadow to that area. What a difference that makes. It really brings it together, don't it? Adding that little bit of shadow. Here I've got some sandpaper. Just thought I'd tell you that. And that's it for today's podcast. No, sandpaper is going to give texture. Let's get close in. We are live, so there's no editing of the zoom here. So let's just sand off a bit of snow. Hey? Bit of texture. You can fold it in half, of course, should you wish. And that'll give a bit of a snow settled effect on the background. Mountain. That's quite effective. If you fold the sandpaper in half a couple of times, you can get more of an edge. Same as here, look, as well on this little bit. I can just use sandpaper too. Again, another technique from the book. Rammed with them. What I'd say is everything I know about watercolour painting is in that companion book. Let's just add a few little extra layers to this area. A few little extra trees. So it's quite a quick process. Again, it's quick, it's demo. Again, if you want to do more of a actual workshop, then do check out the workshop that's happening later on this week, Sunday the 11th September. Beautiful autumnal woodland scene. Again, links if you want to book that for £10. You can't go wrong, really. So do check it out. Happy with this. I'm happy with this. It's a nice little pleasing watercolour. Certainly very atmospheric. Of course, it's always good to sign your pictures, and I find if I sign them Vincent van Gogh, it's worth more money. Or Matthew Palmer, if you want to devalue it, of course. I'm not endorsing people signing pictures with different people's names. You should never do it. Let's get a frame on this picture, folks. I think we've created a picture on a bit of paper. That was the... Let's go right into the distance where you can see the distant hillside goats, the mountain goats, and we'll come back here. Now, look at the texture, look at the mist, look at the depth we've created using just a few colours, couple of brushes, all techniques from the brand new Matthew Palmer watercolour companion. And of course, a painting always looks a million times better when you pop one of these frames around it, so we can do that. Look at that. That's a lovely little vignette, isn't it? Really pleased with that one. That's come together quite nice. I hope you enjoyed it, folks. That was a pleasure to do. Thanks for watching. Keep the paint flowing. That's always important in life. And yes, if you've not already, don't forget, that's what it's all about. The watercolour companion is what it's all about, folks. Brand new book, 2.5 years in the making. Thank you to everybody at Search Press that's been involved in this. Big shout out to Ed and Keith and everybody that's been involved in that book. And thank you for watching. And I'll see you very soon for more watercolour painting somewhere in the Facebook and YouTube universe. Take care, and I'll see you soon. I'm Matthew Palmer, and my new book, The Watercolour Companion, is a hardback reference guide that you keep by your side at all time. The perfect size to fit in your watercolour kit. It's got pages of colour mixes, it's got reference images to work from, it's got what materials you need, how to paint finished pictures. This indispensable guide is designed to be by your side at all times on your watercolour journey. The book is available now.